This is SpeakEasy with Cheesemondo on RPO Radio, broadcasting real people's opinions.
Hello, everyone. It helps if the toggle switch for the mute button is turned on, it seems. Hello. Welcome on to RPO Radio. I'm, of course, Cheesemondo. This is SpeakEasy. This isn't a debate or a debunking show. I want to hear what people have got to say. Thank you very much, Facty. I didn't see any lights flashing in front of me, and I was confused. Done it again. Hello, Clive Wells. Done it again. Gone live. No callers. Mint. So hopefully somebody wants to call in and tell me their stories. If anyone did see the last show, we did have a Bigfoot story, which was my favorite. If you've got a Bigfoot story, I want to hear it. We also talked to Tusk about superstitions and banshees. Banshees is a kind of very Celtic Scottish thing. I don't know if it's in North American culture very much. And who else did we have? And Boomer told us all about musical superstitions. So there's 11 people watching. I've been pushing this to whatever Facebook is. It's going to be a big thing. If you get a chance to buy stock in Facebook later on in a few years, go for it, because it's apparently going to be a really big thing. Doesn't make any difference to me in the 1930s, but if it existed now, I would be pushing this or advertising this on various supernatural, paranormal, UFO groups. If you are from any of those groups and you're watching, give me a call. The numbers are pinned to the top of the side chat. They are also in the description of this video, and if you have seen an advert on Facebook or somewhere else, whatever that is, then the details will be there as well. I've got plenty of space. I'm going to be here until at least one person calls. If nobody calls, then you're just going to be stuck listening to me for the rest of the night, which I'm sure nobody really wants. So there we go. Thank you to everyone who is watching. Apparently the Russian guy wasn't Boomer. I've missed something with that one. Bigfoot that appears on the plot hole channel. That seems cruel. So, being as I do have a bit of time, how are we all doing? And I can't press upon you enough. Bigfoot stories. Really, seriously, Bigfoot stories. Or alien abduction. I'd love an alien abduction call, because I've never had the chance to speak to somebody who has been abducted by an alien. I did meet a lady at a wedding once who believed that she had a chip in her brain that was picking up signals from the planes that deploy chemtrails. That was a really interesting conversation. She was completely out there. Tony Regime says, I misread the title under your name and thought it said you were the moistest. That would be an entirely different show. Welcome to, yes, Moist a Lot with Cheesemondo. That's the late night edition of this show, actually. That'll be on shortly after all the kids have gone to bed. It'll be a quiet night in, a quiet and moist night in with Cheese Moisto. I'm going to stop talking in a minute. This is why I need somebody else to. I might start asking people to come on the show and do this with me. Is that your OnlyFans? No. No. 2 a.m. is not late night. 2 a.m. is not late night. Is it 2 a.m. is not late night? Is it? It's 2 a.m. for you, but that's because you live on the other side of the world, Clive. Geo Sam, my housemate and I both witnessed something in the night sky on 2 different occasions. Call in, Sam, Geo Sam. Use the web thing. Use the web thing. Give me a call. Let's talk about that, Geo Sam, because that sounds. I'm never sold if one person sees it, but if more than one person sees it and they see the same thing, I'm more interested. Was it the moon? Tony Regime says that's somewhat cruel. Hello, PhD Tony. If GeoSam, if you want to type it in the side chat and I'll read it out, or if you want to give me a call or use the web thing or whatever, I would love to hear all about that one. Awesome. GeoSam says he's going to call in. Still nobody on the phone lines. I need to be better. How do you get people to call into a call-in show when they don't know about it? It's a bit of a weird one. Other than just going out and grabbing random people in the street, that might be the next thing. Is that Media African Video Effects 29? That is the longest YouTube name I've ever seen. Media African Video Effects 29 ITKAF 2021 curly thing exclamation point. But I'm really pleased that you're here. Do wonder where people make up these names from. I mean, who the hell would call themselves Cheesemondo? Seriously, like what kind of grown-up would do that? If you have just joined and you're wondering why the hell I am waffling into a microphone for no good reason, I am waiting for somebody to call in or somebody to throw something interesting in the side chat. If anyone has seen anything in the side chat and they want to throw it out there, let me see. And somebody is joining the call. Excellent. Excellent. If it is your first time here, this isn't a debate or a debunking show. I genuinely want to hear what you've got to say. And Bigfoot, I keep saying it, Bigfoot, ghosts, ghouls, goblins, noises in your basement. Just tell the barber fact, he says. I'm going to take this call. Hopefully it's GeoSam. There are no call screener notes, so this one is going to be interesting. Let's see who's on the phone, shall we? Before we get that, sorry, Tony Regime's just put, well, there was a story in the US where there was a power outage and lots of people in cities phoned the police to report lights in the sky because they'd never seen stars before because of light pollution. I'm not sure how true that one is, but I could believe that. Anyway, it is Geo. Awesome. Let's see if this works. First time. GeoSam, are you there?
Oh.
Hello.
Yes, I'm here. Do you hear me?
I can, and I believe that the rest of the internet, whatever the internet is, I believe that the rest of the internet can hear you as well. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Just had an unfortunate event occur today with the air conditioning. It broke down, so we're waiting for a repairman.
Are you baking at the moment?
Well, I live in Arizona, and right now it's about 102 degrees outside, which is, I guess, I don't know what I guess that's Fahrenheit, so I don't know the conversion to Celsius. Somewhere around 35, I think.
That sounds hot to me, and anything above 80 is hot to me. I was driving back from where the hell was I driving back from? Vegas once. Stopped off in, I believe it was Phoenix. That's Arizona, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Stopped off in Phoenix. I had the aircon all the way. Got out the car, and it was like being punched in the face by heat. It was that hot outside. It was that it's too hot. I'm a Brit. I'm designed for rain at the bottom of a valley, with about 3 days of sun a year. That's what my body is built for, and I can't do with anything else.
Well, so, I'm with you on that.
So hopefully you get that looked at soon. 38. Oh, Amy Hogan says 102 is 38.8 centigrade. That's too damn hot. That's hot. No. So you and your housemate saw a lights?
Yeah. Well, So on 2 consecutive nights, one night after the other. The first night I saw it first because I go outside on the patio out back and I have a cigarette every now and then. And I just happened to look up and I saw what looked like lights in the sky is the only way I can describe it. But it was in a pattern that was circular. It's kind of hard to describe. But as soon as I saw what was going on, my housemate was inside, so I ran inside and said, "Hey, come right outside, look at this." And he came running out, and we both stood there looking at it. And it looked like a disc, a black disc with lights on the edges, big lights. And the lights were rotating. Either the lights were rotating or the disc was rotating. I could only see one side of the disc. So as the lights, I guess the lights were rotating or the disc was rotating, and I could tell that it was rotating because the lights got smaller from one end, like say the left end, and as they rotated around, they got larger, and then as they went toward the right, they got smaller, and this continued. And I couldn't see the other side of what I thought was a black disc, but that's what it resembled to me. And that was the first night.
Okay.
That was the first sighting.
So you saw a black disc in the sky with lights around the outside?
It looked like a black disc. It looked like a black disc because it was blocking out the stars that should have been there. And when it was gone, that part of the sky was back again. You know what I mean? That's how I realized that there was something black in the sky.
I see. Okay.
Because it was blocking out. It was blocking out part of the sky that was behind it.
Nice. And then the edge of this black thing. So it was a circle blocking out the stars behind it, and then around the outside of this thing there were what? How many lights would you say? Maybe was it a few or a lot or?
It was a lot. I'd say maybe 50
okay.
lights that I could see directly, but they were huge. The thing was huge. It covered a large portion of the sky. I would estimate if I.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
When you say it was large, how I know it's difficult to put a size to these things, but was it just a large portion, say, of everything you could see? Was it a large portion of everything you could see, or was it kind of moon in the sky size, or?
No, it was much larger than, like, if I see an aircraft in the sky, like, say, because we have an Air Force base next to us, and the jets fly over. And if a jet was flying next to it, the jet would be the size of, say, I'm trying to get some kind of comparisons, like a glass marble to a Frisbee. You know a Frisbee?
Okay.
So if you took a glass marble, that would be the jet, like an F-14 or whatever jet, and you put it the glass marble next to the Frisbee. That's how large the jet would be, and that's how big this thing was. It might have even been bigger than that. So it would have dwarfed a jet, a fighter jet.
Okay. And did it make a noise? Did you?
I heard.
Did you feel anything?
Didn't hear any noise.
No noise at all, and you didn't get like a tingle or hair standing on end or anything weird like that.
No.
But you say it happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah, that was the first sighting, which remains unexplained, kind of, because I don't know what it is. My mind makes up things, because I see things, like my mind sees shapes in the sky, and from my past, this is what my mind tells me it is. But I know that that's my mind playing tricks on me. You know
Sure.
what I mean? But like pareidolia, the phenomenon.
I do, yes, I do.
So I know I can't rely on what my brain is trying to figure out by what I'm seeing. I can't rely on that. But I have someone else that was there. He can't come to the microphone. I mean, I can ask him to come up and talk to you if you want to hear him.
If he would like to, I don't know. I don't want to mess up anyone's evening. But
no, we're just sitting around. We're waiting for a repairman if he comes. But the other sighting was explained.
Okay.
And it was an odd thing, but it was a string of lights that went vertical through the sky, like straight up. But it continued, and then it just faded away. Like it didn't look like anything flying. It looked like something was launched from somewhere. And then we did some research and discovered that it was what's that guy's name with all his rockets? I forget his name. Elon Musk.
Was it the Starlink chain? Was it one of the Starlink chains?
Yes, that's what it was. It was the Starlink chain, and I witnessed it, and I ran inside. I come out, look at this. I see more lights, and he came out, and as soon as he came out, it faded away, and it was gone. It was that quick. But this first one was totally not the same thing, and we both saw it. So,
I'm with you on the Starlink because I saw it last year, and if you didn't know what it was, it would catch you out. And I was going out of the front of the house, and some of my neighbors were recording this in the sky because the angle we were, it looked like these lights were appearing from the clouds and shooting off into sort of outer space, just because of the angle. And people were recording it on their phones. It was superb. But it was a steady stream of them. They had a uniform gap between them, and the first few looked a bit odd. But once I saw maybe 7 or 8, you think, well, there we go, that's Starlink, or it's a UFO invasion. But unfortunately, it was Starlink.
Yeah, well, we figured out the second one that we saw the night after we saw the first one. We figured out what that was, but this first one that we saw, I couldn't figure out what that was, and it looked nothing like that chain. So it did, like the chain. I could tell by looking at it that there was nothing that it seemed. This is what my mind is telling me. Whether I know that I can't rely on it. So, but that's what the first sighting tells me it's something else. The second sighting tells me, oh, it's not, there's nothing behind it, it's just something shooting up in the air, right? Like a fireworks. Like it reminded me of fireworks. But the first time, that one, when we saw that one reminded me of something solid in the sky. I could see part of the sky being blocked out, which to me gave it a shape, And I'm a graphic artist, and I've designed things that spin with lights on the edges, and I know how it's supposed to function to make it look like it's spinning. And that's exactly how it was functioning in the sky. So I deduced in my mind that, yeah, this is a spinning disc with lights on the edges. Because of my experience with graphic arts, that's how I would have designed it, so it would look like it was spinning. If I wanted, like, it's hard to explain the angle I was looking at it. Like, say if you took, say, a shield and you held it out in front of, like a round shield, like a Viking shield, and you held it out in front of you with two hands, you would see the whole thing flat on, right? But this was turned at an angle so you could only see the side. And it was at an angle in the sky that it blocked out part of the sky, and I could only see a certain portion of the lights that were rotating. Now, whether the disc was rotating and the lights were rotating was hard to tell. So that's what we saw on the first night. And that remains unexplained.
And just for anyone who's listening right now, are you? Would you say you're a skeptic?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's an explanation. It might even have something to do with something that's going on with the Air Force Base here, or I mean, I really don't know. Really don't know. I mean, I'm not someone that's going to jump to conclusions. You know, I'm not going to. How can I take that and say aliens? It's just that the leap is just so far that I can't make the other end. I can't get to the other end to make that leap work. You know what I mean?
I do. So you've gone at it from the view of it was definitely something, but you wouldn't. It's as far as you're concerned, I guess it is just you don't know what it is. It's not necessarily aliens or anything like that. Okay, that's
right.
That's really interesting. And how long was it? Did you see it for in the sky? Was it there for? Was it seconds, minutes?
It was maybe a 2 to 3 minutes span of time, maybe a little longer. I didn't have my phone with me, and I asked my housemate, his name is Richard, to go and get his phone, and he went and got his phone, and he was standing there taking pictures. So I'm like, great, somebody's getting pictures, right? He's getting pictures. But we looked at the pictures, they were all black. They didn't show anything.
So I said, oh, is that because they were just weren't bright enough for the phone to distinguish them in the sky? Like,
I don't know why. I watched him point his phone at the sky and take pictures, but when we looked at all the pictures, they were all black. I mean, it was plain as day what we were seeing in the sky. And I don't understand why a camera wouldn't take that picture. But he didn't get any pictures, and I didn't have my phone. And then I ran upstairs to get my phone, and I came down, and it was gone. So, you know, that's like a cliche story.
It's always the same, isn't it? As soon as you want the damn thing to work, it won't.
Listen, I'm going outside, taking my phone with me every time. So I'm gonna if this happens again, I'm getting a picture of it. I'm gonna try and get video and pictures. You know.
Awesome. That would be superb.
But I have a funny feeling.
Make sure you call back.
Yeah, if I have a funny feeling that this is never going to happen again. It's one of those things, you know. So.
Maybe.
That's my story.
Awesome. That's superb. That's really, really superb. Thank you so much for calling in.
Sure. You're welcome.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to anything you want to tell us? Anything you want to shell out just before you go?
Well, I've never seen anything like that before. I don't believe in UFOs or aliens, you know, so I just want to make that clear. And I'm also a member of the TMI show, which is a bit of tea in Danish that usually airs every Thursday. Not sure about the times. I believe it's 8. It was a UTC, 8 p.m. UTC, and my time, Arizona time, is about 12 o'clock. Eastern's about 2. Eastern U.S. So that would be the TMI show, or a bit of tea in Danish, with Amiga Nuts, myself, and Linda, and guests.
Awesome.
And that's about it. That's about it.
Awesome. Thank you, dear Sam. Thank you so much for calling in. And look after yourself.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hope you get your aircon fixed. And speak to you soon, hopefully.
Right. Okay. Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Bye. There we go. First call of the night. Lights in the sky. Awesomeness. Awesomeness, awesomeness, awesomeness. Let me just make sure that we let Sam go. Has anyone else got a story like that? I mean, you don't necessarily have, and I saw it go past in the side chat. You don't necessarily have to believe in it. Don't immediately have to go to aliens when you see things like that. Globum's in the side chat. Hello, Globum. You don't need to go to aliens when you see things like that. Sometimes it is just a UFO. You just don't know where it is, and so many times recently, UFOs have come to mean people have associated UFOs with aliens, where sometimes it's really just we don't know what it is, unless you follow Thunderfoot, and then he knows what they are. Sometimes I do recommend some of the Thunderfoot videos, especially with the leaked Pentagon footage. Nothing to do with a filmmaker making a movie or anything like that. Honest Gov. Has anyone else got lights in the sky, a UFO, an alien abduction, a monster in the basement, demonic possession? Somebody is just about to call in. I'm going to give that a few seconds for the automatic call screen to do its thing. If you do have a story like that, I want to hear it. And as long as you don't mind the rest of the internet hearing the story as well, it's all good. We do have another call. Let's get straight to this one. Press the right button. Uma, are you there?
I am. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Are we through? Am I? Is this an earlier, or am I actually out there now? Or are we talking privately?
You are live on the webs, whatever the internet is. It won't be
cool.
Invented for another 50 years, 40 years.
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah, I like being black and white. It's so much better. It's just easier on your eyes. I love this black and white time. We're not going to be colour for another 30 years or so. I was leaving some space because I didn't want to hog your time, but I've got a couple of good UFOs for you, being the skeptic that I am. First one is where I used to live, we used to head down to the bay. This is in Melbourne. There's Port Phillip Bay. And a lot of the guys would go there, and we'd sit there and, shall we say, research pharmaceuticals, watching out across the bay. And we used to notice the jet fighters would actually do dump and burns, where what they do, they get a fuel allotment. We had an RAF base nearby. Well, not that close, but they get a fuel allotment, and if they don't burn all their fuel up, they don't get it again. But they don't need it, but they just don't get it again, so they have to. It's the way the public service and government stuff works. So the guys would fly out in their jets late at night and do a dump and burn, where they just dump a heap of fuel out, turn the engine back on, and you'd see this huge plume of flame. Now, where we were, it was awesome to watch because we could get this beautiful night sky with these wonderful big flames. But from a distance, we used to get all these UFO calls into the radio stations because a few kilometres away, it looks like a rather small light appearing. And so what our UFO experiences was sitting there smoking joints and seeing the RAF guys burn their fuel off so they could get their next month's fuel allotment. And yeah, so that's what we used to get around the areas of Melbourne.
Just to go back for a second, you did say pharmaceutical experimentation, didn't you?
I did.
Awesome. just checking.
Well, we were testing the quality of my brother's gardening abilities. If that gives you an indication.
he's growing tobacco in
There's a
his
couple of
garden.
people in the chat know what I mean by research.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have someone else? Because I've got a nice story which is sort of UFO related too. We got someone else. I don't want to hog the airwaves because I was already here on 3 nights ago, so I want to leave a bit of space for other peeps. Is there anyone queued behind me yet?
No, right now it's just you, me, and the rest of the internet. So if you want to share another story, go for it.
Yep, this is UFO related.
Awesome.
When me and 2 other mates in our mid-20s were sharing a house, it was the second house on a corner, and we had some little shopping centre across the road about probably 50 metres away. Now, when we moved into this house, there was an old trampoline there. Not an old trampoline. The trampoline itself was had broken, but it had one of those safety net arrangements around it. So it was the trampoline frame with all the poles going up for the safety netting. Now, we couldn't use it as a trampoline, but we also had what was a 3-man slingshot. This is where 2 people stand up on a park bench. The slingshot was made of surgical rubber, and it was like a bucket almost, a sort of a circular bucket. And this thing could hurl a water balloon, probably 25, 30 metres. So the problem is it was really dangerous. These things were a prohibited import. They lasted about 10 minutes because you kill people with these elastic band surge rubber like a leg rope. So anyway, because you couldn't use 2 people, it was all wobbly and inaccurate. I got this idea that we could hook it up to the trampoline. So I've hooked up this water balloon thingamabob to the trampoline on both legs, and I sort of stretched it down probably about 5 or 6 feet or maybe 8 feet, and it started to lift the top of the trampoline up on the other side. So I got a friend to stabilise it, and we pulled it down and we put a water balloon inside because we had purchased some water balloons because we were going to be having a barbecue that night, and there was a bit of revenge afoot from the great water ballooning of a previous party 2 weeks earlier. So we were ready with water balloons. So anyway, we put a water balloon in the bucket, and this thing was so good once we'd made a proper frame for it. It hurled the water balloon about probably 40 metres. And next door neighbour came out, and he was also just sitting down to do some pharmaceutical research on his back porch that morning, and he saw a purple water balloon fly past. And he looked at his joint and thought, this is pretty good dope here, because I haven't even smoked the thing yet, and I'm hallucinating purple water balloons. So anyway, we decided to see the real range of this, and we decided to attack the shops across the road. And this thing had great range. We actually worked out a bit of development. So this is the birth of the first water balloon artillery here. So we actually worked out this thing was so good, it could lob a water balloon 50 metres away on the doorstep of the fish and chip shop. So anyway, we shot a couple over there. Now, the owner of the fish shop and us had previous altercations as well, so hostilities had been initiated. Anyway, so we threw a few shots over at his shot and left it go. And about 2 hours later, because we're prepping for a barbecue, it's a Saturday afternoon, and about 2 hours later, the cops have turned up, and the cops knocked on the door, and I went out the front, and the cop said to me, and he actually knew us for not bad. He said, anyway, I said to the cop, what can we do this time? And he said, apparently you guys have been throwing water balloons over at the fish and chip shop. And he's actually pulled out these 3 water balloons he had in his pocket. You've been throwing these things. And I've looked at the cop, I've looked at our house, and looked across the road and said, you reckon we can throw water balloons that far? If we could throw water balloons that far, you would be bringing a SWAT team here, buddy, because we'd be in the Olympics. I mean, obviously the guy is crazy. And so, anyway, the cop's looking at me. You can see I've got a smirk on my face. He knew I was up to something, but he couldn't really, it made sense that you just can't throw a water balloon 50 metres. He didn't know we had a 3-man slingshot trampoline, basically, tool in the backyard. That was our artillery. So anyway, the cop said, okay, well, look, you know he's crazy. Just try to keep the peace around the neighbourhood, because I got to say, it is amusing when I come here, but I'd rather do other things. Yeah, sure, Mr. Policeman. See you later. Have a nice day. So as soon as the cop drove off, I walked back into the house, and there's the guys out in the back trough filling up water balloons. Yep, the attack is on. So we basically gave him a barrage of about 5,000, probably 20 water balloons after that. So anyway, that was the birth of the first water balloon artillery, and that's an unidentified flying object story, and that's the best I can do for today.
Super. Oh my goodness me. Goodness me. Oh, I don't know what to say to that other than that's just superb. And you shouldn't ever condone acts of misdemeanors and things like that, but that's superb.
Well, my excuse is I was 25 years old, young, dumb, and full of cum, and we were all, how do you say, you know what young males are like? We all egg each other on, and yes, I don't condone attacking fish and chip shops. I've got to point out, though, we did take some food back to him, and he was pretty unreasonable. Yeah, like the food wasn't that. It was just a dodgy one. We went over to get another piece of fish from him, and he just yelled at us and told us to get over his shop. So we didn't initiate the hostilities. That's all I've got to say. I claim total innocence to this, and the police understood that we were okay about it. But yeah, we used to get quite competitive too, because the water balloons were about a previous barbecue 2 weeks earlier, where we got attacked with it was actually food dye, the water pistols. It was quite good. So we decided it was going to be a water balloon counterattack. So anyway, have you got someone else in behind or not?
I do. It actually says Bowden code. I have a feeling that's Woden Toad, and the voice recognition software has gone slightly awry, unless it really is Bowden, which it could be.
Well, there was a Russian guy the other night that sounded like me. Sorry, I'm on delay a bit, mate. Sorry. There was a Russian guy sounding like me. That wasn't actually me the other night. It's amazing how similar we both sound, though, isn't it? But this is the genuine Boomer. He was not Boomer, if I remember. He's Ivan from Vladivostok or something using software. But I'll clear the line, mate, and jump out. But I'll give you my Bigfoot story at some other time. And apparently Bigfoot is not impressed about the Melby allegations, because Bigfoot's not into bestiality. They actually find humans a bit disgusting. And the thought of shagging Melby is pretty much a turn-off to most Bigfoots, because they do find the sun attractive. Anyway, mate, been a pleasure. I'll let someone else jump in and talk rubbish.
Always, thank you, Boomer. Speak soon. Cheers.
Yeah, Cheesy, I'm going to break you one day, mate. I will do it. It's my thing in life now.
I'm sure you will as well. I'm absolutely convinced that you will. Awesome. Take care. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you, Boomer. Let's just see who this is. I think it's Woden Toad. I think it's Woden Toad. I might be wrong. Let's see. Hello there. Hello.
Okay, sorry.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello? All right. Sorry, yes, I can.
Awesome. Is it
all right?
Is it Woden Toad or is it Bowden Code?
It is Woden Toad.
Because
it is Woden Toad.
The call screen. The
I
call
think
screen
it's
thing
because
says.
I've got a little bit of.
Go on.
Robots hate me.
Yeah. It says it really says Bowden Code, and I was like, that's got to be Woden Toad.
You don't have a voice like mine and have robots understand you unless the robots are built for children.
So it says here that you have, I think it's trying to say 2 ghost stories, but it actually says 2 go stories.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
It does not like me.
Awesome. In that case, tell us all about it. What happened?
All right. The first one was when I was a little girl. I was about maybe 8. We had gone to this little, it's this little town where it was like a reenactment town, which is constantly doing things. Oh crap! I can't even remember the name of the town now, but it's a little spot in the back hills of Tennessee. and where they have original buildings and everybody dresses up and they pretty much stay in character while they're there. It's pretty fun. Well, it's boring if you're 8 years old, but it's fun if you're an adult. And so while we were walking, me, my dad, my sister, we were walking down the road, and we turned and we saw this old woman in a long dress, not like any of the reenactors, but in an old dress, who was peering out from some curtains, some lacy curtains. And it was as if when she saw us, she didn't want to be seen, so she just kind of pulled away. And we came to find out that, and we thought, well, maybe it was just one of the workers that was upstairs, but there were no stairs to that building. They had been removed because they were dangerous. And the woman who had lived in that house had, she had been engaged to be married and had died waiting for her husband, who went to war and never came home. That's the first one. The second one is much shorter.
Okay.
I used to live on a Civil War battleground, and in this crappy little apartment that was also in a flood zone, which sucked. So every time it stormed, we would see soldiers. And one time, the storm was really, really bad, and while I was coming down the road, I saw man in full Civil War soldiery getup run towards me and jump into the neighbor's house. And that's the shorter one.
What? So many questions. How many? So when you saw the soldiers, how like 3, 50, 100, 1,000?
Usually it was one, maybe two at a time that you would see very clearly. But it was in Middle Tennessee, which was really flat, so you try not to go out in storms because the wind can really pick up. It's a tornado zone, so you try not to go out in storms too much. Not because of the soldiers, but because of the tornadoes.
And one ran towards you. How far was it before they jumped? Then how close did you get?
I'd say maybe 10 meters.
Okay.
Maybe.
And did you hear?
It wasn't.
Was there a noise?
I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
I just saw it. Just the guy ran up and then dove. I don't know if he looked anywhere. I wasn't really paying that close attention. I was more shocked by man with gun running towards me, and then kind of slowly processed that man with gun running towards me was also wearing. Now, when I say Civil War getup, you usually think of like the dressed up uniforms. But those were very uncommon among the soldiery. What he was dressed up in is whatever he could get his hands on, with the belts across him holding his powder and all that. And that's what he was dressed in.
And so if you got the powder on the belt, was it like a musket then with a bayonet on the end, or just a musket?
Bayonet, yeah. It's a musket with a bayonet.
And no noise at all. Just this almost.
It was also storming at the time, like heavy thunder. Like every second was more thunder overhead.
Okay, and how do you sit? Where do you stand on ghosts and things? Are they? Is this something you just saw? Is it actually a ghost? A ghost kind of real?
Well, here's the thing. When it comes to ghost stories, that's not the only two I have. UFO stories? Nope, not a single one. But when it comes to things like ghosts and fairy lights and strange happenings around a house, things moving, that I've got stories. I have several more I can tell you.
So is that? So you believe that they're a real thing? Ghosts are a real thing? Just to kind of frame it for everybody else.
Okay. As everyone knows, I am very much a skeptic about all things. I believe that there are explanations for what I believe I have seen because the brain is a tricky thing. And being neuroatypical, it's probably true that a confluence of random events and my brain has filled it in with other information that I already have.
Okay.
So, for instance, I knew I lived on a Civil War battleground. I knew that it was, storm with crackly lightning going everywhere, reflecting off glass. I could have seen, a reflection off of a reflection that looked like a guy. It's one of those things. And if I've got a minute, I could tell you another weird happening. And this one, to this day, my husband and I cannot explain.
Oh, you can't drop a breadcrumb like that and expect us not to take you up on it. Go for it. As much time as you want, go for it.
All right. So back in the day, I used to play with the pagans. And we would go on these camps called gathers. And, it's camping, it's music, it's rituals and workshops. It's a whole lot of fun. It's really great. I would do it as an atheist any day of the week. But we used to go to this one that was maybe about 400 miles away. So, of course, it's a long car trip back. One time, we were exhausted, and we'd gotten in the car, and my husband had asked me to drive, which he never did. And we were in this, in our, beat-up old used car, where this little internal part had lost its attachment bit and kept falling down on us. And, you could kind of pop it up and it would stay there for a little while, and then it would fall down like maybe a minute, 10 minutes later. So we were exhausted. I was driving. The thing popped down. My husband, who was out of his head exhausted, already asleep, which he doesn't do when I drive because I'm a woman and my driving scares him. But he just kind of glared at it, growled, whacked it, it clicked, and then it never fell down again until we'd had the car had been totaled in an accident. Not in just a little fender bender, but it was enough to total the car. And as we drove off in our rental car, it popped down in our rearview mirror. To this day, we cannot explain it. And no, Tony, I don't do any kind of anything at all. I have enough problems in my brain.
So we wouldn't find you with Boomer experimenting with pharmaceuticals, quality control.
Well, I am a pot baby, which has, got its own side effects, lifelong side effects. For one thing, I cannot smell weed, cannot smell it at all. And for another, I tend to avoid anything that has a psychoreactive effect, if at all possible. So I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any kind of drugs.
Good, healthy living person.
I'm the cheap date and the designated driver.
Oh no, that's no fun. I've been Des a few times. It's no fun, especially with a car load of drunks.
I know it's a lot of fun. You get free coffee or sodas at a lot of places. It's nice to be the designated driver.
So,
except caffeine. I'm a caffeine addict.
Oh, that's to be expected. Well, you got to have some vices, surely.
Of course, that's it.
So this thing in your car then that fell down.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that stuck in your head so much? Is that were you particularly attached to the car or anything like that? Is it just this random thing that it just fell down? It was the moment in time where we were both out of our heads exhausted. Now, the little piece that was supposed to hold it was gone. There was no finding it, like he found it and then stuck it in. No, it was gone. It was not going to stay up. Surely not going to stay up for 2 more years. And it just stuck in my head that he just kind of growled, reached up, whacked it as we always did, and then it stayed the whole time. We just kept watching for when it would come down again, and it never did. Oh dear.
Like I said, I'm a skeptic. Confluence of events, it may have just stuck just the right way, but, there are more things than we can explain.
Absolutely. And I'm well, you've seen my stuff. I am a complete skeptic and somewhat cynical sometimes, as some flat earthers have found out. But yes, that's why I wanted to do this, because I don't believe in ghosts and ghouls and monsters and things like that. I could go with Bigfoot. I could go with aliens. But there are a lot of people that do. And so if I'm missing something, I want to know. I just want to know about it.
Well, it's not, like I said, I'm absolutely a pure skeptic when it comes to the unexplainable. But as a skeptic, I also know that there are a lot of things that are still unexplainable. There are things that science just can't grasp yet. There may be something beyond, or there may be some trick of the brain that causes it in some way.
Yes, and that's where I'm at. That's more or less where I'm at. I'm not going to write anything off. But if somebody wants to call and tell me that they're like Geo Sam, I love hearing about stuff like that. And Geo Sam went at it from a skeptical point of view as well, and didn't immediately jump to aliens, and I like that too. It's good. I'm enjoying this so far. Thank you so much for calling in. Is there anything you want to tell us? Is anything we need to know? Anything you want to shill out?
Well, the only thing I have to show is my dragons. They're always linked from my YouTube channel or my Twitter.
And you can post.
Oh, and I have a new Twitter. I have a personal Twitter, which is Woden Toad, which is where I do all my spicy political stuff. And then if you just want to see crafts and family and not spicy stuff, I have Woden Toad Crafts, which is where I post all my craft stuff now.
Awesome. I'm just seeing if you've got a wrench. I think you've got a wrench. You have. If you want to throw those links into the chat, just go ahead and do it. You've got a wrench. That's what it's for. And I can see Mippet shilling you out, your channel out as well. Awesome. And the dragons. Oh, thank you, Mippet. You're wonderful. Woden Toad, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for calling in. And hopefully I get to talk to you again sometime.
Oh, sure. I've got other stories to tell you.
Awesome. I'll tell you what. Let call in another day, and we'll talk more.
I will.
Awesomeness. Thank you so much. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
Right, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Awesome. Thank you, Woden Toad. I think. Oh. No. I think I'm going to call it a night there. The phone lines are empty. If anyone, I'm gonna give you a 1 minute warning. If anyone else does want to call in and share something, now is your chance to do it, or hold your peace until, I believe it's next Monday, daytime. It'll be a daytime show, so the Brits will be at the evening. So if you're a Brit, it'll be like a 9 p.m. Monday. America, it's going to be between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., I do believe. Nobody's calling in. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds, and if I don't see anyone else join, I'm going to say goodnight. But this has been good fun. Thank you to everyone who's called in. Still no more Bigfoot stories. I do want to hear one. I'm on a promise of a Bigfoot story from Boomer. So hopefully he calls in again next week. Other than that, it is 3:30 a.m. in Oz. Why are you up at 3:30 a.m.? Oh, is that the Monday show, Maypit? I think the Monday show is at an ungodly hour if you live on the bottom end of the planet. I love hearing the stories. Thank you so much to everyone calling in. I am going to call that a night. No one else has joined the phone lines, so let's kill those off. And thank you all for watching. If you do want to join the Facebook group or anything like that, Streamlabs has been posting a link. Check the description of the video. If you want to be on the show next time, you don't need to make an appointment. You just call on the day. So the phone line's open 10 minutes before the show starts. And I'd love to hear from you. And if there are people on the lines, I will run the show until everyone who calls in gets to say their piece. Other than that, I've had a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying doing this show. And hopefully you're all enjoying watching it. If you could give it a cheeky like on the way out, that would be superb. Other than that, I've been Cheesemondo. This has been Speakeasy, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.